Here's the reality. Most entrepreneurs die broke. Okay. It is a tough life. The risk is high. The odds are slim. And it's not for everybody. It's borderline crazy becoming an entrepreneur, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Gino Wickman, welcome to the ROI Online Podcast.
Amazing, right?
So I'm excited because I have a little story that happens to be about your book and where the idea for my book. Mm-hmm. And I'm like you. I believe the invisible heroes of our economy are the entrepreneurs, those people that risk everything, their future, their family's future, on some hope that they're going to create a business that provides us these services that change our lives and actually in aggregate employ all these people in the workforce, and they're so important. So I'm on a plane and I'm flying to San Francisco to go to a Google conference, a Google Next conference, and I'm reading one of your books, and you can see right here on my shelf. They're there. They've been that way for a while, but I'm reading what the heck is EOS, right? And EOS is, for those that don't know, which are not that many people, EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And it's a beautiful book that you wrote to help empower an organization to share with their team. This is what we're implementing. And I was marveling at how simple it was, but I was hit with this epiphany that I had a version of the entrepreneurial business marketing and sales system. And that was the confirmation that I got of what my book should be about and what I should do. I just wasn't calling it that. So Gino, thank you for helping me work through that challenge.
Yeah, my pleasure. It makes my day and music to my ears. So happy that inspired you.
So your book, Entrepreneurial Leap, I have it right here. So this book, your mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs figure out whether this gig is what they should be doing or not. And I love it. But here's the thing. It's so sexy. Every Instagram post that we see is telling us you need to be an entrepreneur because it's what everybody's doing. It's sexy. And you just work hard enough, you can make it happen. But that's not really the truth.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is not. And so I've got bad news. And the bad news is only 4% of us are entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs. And so I say that to start with, because, this passion project in this book that I wrote is designed to find all of the true entrepreneurs in the world and show them the life that they were born to live and provide them that freedom. And I say the bad news is, the subtitle of the book is, do you have what it takes to become an entrepreneur? And you said it, there's so much hype and media and promotion about becoming an entrepreneur and be an entrepreneur. In the 70s and 80s, everybody wanted to be a rock star, and now everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and it's dangerous because everybody shouldn't be an entrepreneur. 4%, I said. Here's the reality. Most entrepreneurs die broke. Okay. It is a tough life. The risk is high. The odds are slim. And it's not for everybody. It's borderline crazy becoming an entrepreneur, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. Mm-hmm. And what I believe is a true entrepreneur has 6 essential traits, and we can get into those later, but you're born with them or you're not. And you either have them or you don't. And so entrepreneurship is not this pinnacle, this ultimate destination, the only career choice in life. It's one of 1,000, and not everyone's cut out for it. And it's not as glamorous as everyone thinks. So for the crazy ones that are, I'm showing them a path to become very successful. And for the ones that aren't, I'm providing them clarity and saving them 10 years of hell, because there's some other purpose for you that's going to be amazing. And this may not be it.
I love it. You have some great stories in your book, but in chapter 1, I wanted to, these are questions that I get. And so I want I'm looking for your answers, but what are the essential characteristics of an entrepreneur? It seems like it'd be obvious. I'm a risk taker, but there's several more.
Yeah, so I actually call them essential traits, but characteristics, traits, potato. I actually do a riff in one of the chapters in the book about all of the characteristics. So I believe there's, 20 or 30 characteristics, but there are 6 essential traits. And like I said, I believe you're born with these. I don't believe they can be taught. And listen, I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully they can be taught, because then we'll have even more entrepreneurs. But let's pretend I'm right and that you're born with them. I'm going to share them with you right now. And what I love for your listener to do is to just do a checkup on themselves. Do they have all 6 of these things? And so these are the 6 essential traits. They are visionary, passionate, problem solver, driven, risk taker, and responsible. And so those are the 6.
Responsible. That seems like, what do you mean by responsible?
I love it. That's always my favorite one to talk about, because that one makes the point the best, that you're born with these and they can't be taught. So responsible, this trait is a person who blames no one. There are 2 types of people in the world. And so there's people that when something goes wrong, they blame everyone else. And then there's another type of person that looks to themselves, blames themselves, takes responsibility. They look into the mirror when something goes wrong. They're willing to take and run with the ball. They don't believe in entitlement. And so 2 things. One is, I heard this described best as to a person who takes responsibility and is responsible. If it's an entrepreneur who owns a building, if their building gets hit with a meteor, they believe that's their fault. They chose the building. They built the building. They chose to move there. They are responsible, where the rest of the world blames everyone else for that happening or blames other things. And the second point is, here's how I know you're born with it. Let's pick a family of 4 children, okay? And so now those of you out there listening, think about your siblings and brothers and sisters and people in the world. Well, if you think about each one of them, when something goes wrong for them, you can put them in one of 2 camps. They either take total responsibility or they blame everyone else. Well, how is it that in a family of 4, and so again, think about your family, whatever the number of siblings, some take responsibility and some don't. Same parents, same upbringing, same everything. Why is it so different? And so to me, it's because you're either born with this responsible trait or you're not.
Yeah, that's tough. So these are questions that you have to ask yourself and be really honest about, because being an entrepreneur is really a serious gig. You have their jobs are depending upon you. And if you just decide one day, this is just too hard, I don't want to do this anymore, it's SOL for them.
You got it. And I'm so passionate about this. Again, it's a cautionary tale. I'm trying to make sure you have them so you can become an entrepreneur, or you don't, so to save you those 10 years of hell. So I actually created an assessment that you can take online at the website at e-leap.com. It's free. In 10 minutes. If you score 90 or higher, odds are you possess these 6 essential traits. Anything lower, you may be missing some. And again, it's just my caution to you that maybe you shouldn't take the leap. At the end of the day, it's a decision that you have to make for yourself.
So, Gino, why do you say that entrepreneurs are born, not made?
Well, again, it goes back to these 6 essential traits. I believe you are born with these traits. It's in your makeup, it's in your genes. And so we could go through each one, and it would take us 30 minutes to go deep into each one, just like I explained responsible. But when you think about the visionary trait as an example, again, we can pick any one of them. People that are visionary have this incredible ability to connect the dots. They put things together. They just see things in a way that others don't. They're literally able to see around corners. And then there's some people that just don't, and it's okay. And you're never going to learn that. It is truly a gift that you are born with. And so that's just another example. And I could keep going with all 6, but my experience is you don't learn these things.
The frustration with seeing the things that others is like, it's hard on you. And you're going, well, I don't understand why you guys are pushing back, or why you're asking all these stupid questions, because can't you see it's going to happen, but it's hard for them. And it feels like they're being critical or not believing you.
Yeah, and it's a blessing and a curse. It is a strength and a weakness because people with this visionary trait, they typically have ADD. They're hyperactive, lots of ideas. Their brains are always going, and so they're distracted. They're seeing things. They're trying to focus. It's one of the biggest entrepreneurial challenges is to not get distracted by all the shiny stuff and all the opportunities that you see in the world, because success comes from picking one thing, focusing and executing that well. And so it's as much a blessing as it is a curse.
The discussion about passion in that chapter really resonated with me. And I love the line in there. It's like your passion is what's going to give you this energy to plow through when it feels like you're losing, when you're failing, and you're still going to stick to it.
You bet. And I always talk about, it's passion. I believe it's the number one reason entrepreneurs succeed, because having deep passion for something is the only reason you're going to get up every time you get knocked down. And being an entrepreneur and building a business, you get knocked down constantly. And it's borderline insanity to keep getting up and trying to create this thing that you're creating. But that's what we do. We're relentless in wanting to pursue that passion.
We talk about the strengths of an entrepreneur, but there's also these weaknesses. So let's talk a little bit about what are those that it seems sexy that I'm an entrepreneur, but there's a flip side of that there's a lot of baggage that comes with that.
Yeah. And so with that, we're glamorizing all of these wonderful traits, but every one of these traits has an equal downside. And I do a riff in the book and I share all of these downsides. So there are probably 20 of them, but I'm going to give you some high level ones because, as I already mentioned, a true entrepreneur almost always has ADD or ADHD. And I believe it's a gift, but it is challenging because you're always so distracted. A lot of them have OCD. A lot of them have dyslexia. And with this challenge, though, with this driven trait, you're sometimes very dominant. You're off-putting to people around you. You're intimidating to people around you because you're so freaking intense and people just want you to back off, slow down, calm down. And so that comes off as off-putting. A true entrepreneur, ironically, people are surprised by this, but they're actually not great at finances and bookkeeping and the P&L. I still can't read a P&L and a financial statement. I've been doing this for 30 years. They're great at making money. That's not what we're talking about. It's the keeping the money that they're challenged with. And as I mentioned earlier, most entrepreneurs die broke because it's a weakness. And I could keep going, but those are some of the high level ones.
Yeah, that's the keeping an eye on the numbers, and then they are always justifying that this new thing is going to be the next upgrade, the next level. And it puts you at risk. Every time you do that, you're putting yourself at risk. And yet that's what you don't mind, putting things at risk.
Yeah, exactly right. And I can't help but now all of a sudden my mind's racing because, they're not great at managing people. They're not great at holding people accountable. They're not great with details. It's not all great, man. It's not all great, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
When you're in this decisions stage, like you're deciding, am I an entrepreneur? Those around you that love you, they're going to point those negative things out to you, which make you feel like, oh, I could be making a big mistake. You're almost never in a position of confidence because everyone around you is seeing all the things from their perspective, which is generally non-entrepreneurial.
Yeah, exactly. And, I talk about Danielle Kennedy's quote that is, we teach what we needed the most. And so the reason I created Entrepreneurial Leap and the reason for this passion project to impact 1 million entrepreneurs in the making over the next 10 years is because of my 18-year-old self. When I was 18 as an entrepreneur in the making, I didn't know I was an entrepreneur back then. So I was this mislabeled, derelict, insecure kid, confused because I was so different from everybody else. I didn't get what I was. And that's so challenging. And it makes me think of, the entrepreneur in the making, the 13-year-old kid, be it a boy or a girl, in a family of whatever it is, doctors, teachers, whatever, but a non-entrepreneurial family, that poor kid is an alien. That poor kid is on Mars and they just feel so out of place. And so, yes, absolutely, you can and do feel lost. And this book is designed to give hope to both those parents so they know what the heck it is that they have here, and for that kid that realizes, here's what I am and here's why I'm so different than all of these other career choices.
Yeah. So you're listening to, or you're watching the ROI Online podcast. We're interviewing Gino Wickman. His book is Entrepreneurial Leap. He's written 6 books, sold over 1 million copies, and he didn't sell all of those out of the back of his car. He's sold it by pure hustle. He's built and sold 2 companies. One was he took over his dad's company, and then his other is Entrepreneurial Operating System. And so we're talking about how you can find out whether you have the chops to be an entrepreneur or not with his new book, Entrepreneurial Leap. So, Gino, this passion conversation where we can get tripped up on our passion and maybe it's not our real passion, but is there a passion test that you can take?
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it a passion test. I don't know why this topic is so hot, like in this last 30 days. I can't tell you how many people have zeroed in on this question as of late. And so I love it. I'm very passionate about the topic of passion. And so I write an entire chapter on this. And so high level context, the book is written in 3 parts: confirm, glimpse, path. And there's a very important science behind that linear flow, because first we want to confirm whether you are or aren't. And that Entrepreneur in the Making assessment on the website will help you determine that. Glimpse is to show all the possibilities. Path is to show a path to greatly increase your odds of success. Well, I write an entire chapter in Path on discovering your passion, because this is so important. And I offer 7 tools to discover your passion. So literally 7 exercises and tools to help you get there. So it's not so much about a test as it is a soul searching journey to find your passion. We all have one. And what's interesting about the way this has been asked as of late is there's confusion out there, because there's talk about how, what if I'm not passionate about my product or service? How can I succeed? And the truth of the matter is, it's not always a passion about the product or service. And I would suggest to you, it's rarely passion about the product or service. And the passion tends to fall in one of 4 categories. It's either passion about the end user, the customer, the client, who you're trying to impact. I am passionate about entrepreneurs and impacting their lives and giving them the ideal life. So that's where my passion lies. The second is a passion for the organization you're building. You want to build something great, a culture that's incredible. The third is about innovation and ideas and creativity. And then the fourth is about winning, crushing competitors, being the best, being number one. That's where I find most of the passions lie. So just know that you can build something great, and it doesn't have to be passion for your product. I've got a client that sells light bulbs. They're not entirely passionate about light bulbs, but they're passionate about building an incredible organization. I've got another client, they sell toner cartridges. So they're not passionate about toner cartridges. For them, it's about building an incredible culture that is second to none. And so those are all the different types of passions. So don't feel like it's, let's see. So maybe it needs to be about, window washing. It's not about that. It's something deeper. And your passion typically always stems from a wound or a pain or a past experience or something from your past. That's what's typical. And I give, again, a bunch of exercises to help you discover it.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because you think about entrepreneurs getting ready to take the leap, to step out, to hold themselves accountable. But it's like you don't know where to start necessarily, and you're wondering, and you're in this system or this process. The way to think it through can be so empowering.
Mm-hmm. Hear, hear.